A billion years ago, a massive volcano violently erupted in the Lesotho Mountains, bringing to the surface a rare type of magma, rich in gemstones. Over the course of time, diamonds were scattered into the river valley below. This river has never been prospected, until now. A group of top international businessmen, led by entrepreneur and adventurer Peter Jago, have secured this sought-after concession. They must journey to the roof of Africa and set up the world's highest alluvial diamond mining operation, with the hope of unearthing the biggest diamonds ever found. Will they succeed in this ultimate high-risk, high-reward adventure, or will they be defeated by the harsh terrain and near impossible challenges of mining in the mountains?
I do believe one thing very, very strongly. If you dream it, do it. I am a risk taker. There's certain traits I fail in. That's why I've got partners.
Once the lure of the diamond is in your blood, it's always there.
None of us have ever done any mining whatsoever.
Not the little angel here. I am a little hard-ass.
My aim is to find diamonds and retire.
If you can feel pain, you're still human, you're still alive.
I think it's going to be insane, literally, to dig for diamonds.
Peter Jago and his team of investors' dreams of finding diamonds in the Lesotho Mountains has come to an abrupt halt due to the failure of the pumps. The machine manufacturer Jan has not taken into account the altitude or terrain when designing the equipment. He has returned to South Africa to build larger, more powerful pumps. This is not the only obstacle the team faces. The kingdom of the sky is rarely visited by outsiders, and they are learning just why. Road access in these areas is limited and often impassable.
We're building roads and crossing rivers to get to a site where we want to dig. I mean, that's insane.
It's a mission, eh? Yes, you come here hoping to pump diamonds and you're spending 50% of your time developing the area so you can get to them. The distance from the camp to where we're going is probably about 5 kilometers, and we've got 2 rivers. But these 2 rivers can come down quite high, so we want to make dead sure we can get cars across here even when the water's a bit higher than this.
The divers are frustrated.
Definitely not just mining for diamonds, it's building roads, moving ground from place to place. It's been quite a challenge.
You want to use a big machine like that for a little stone? There's 15 men that can fucking move the rock. You don't need a TLB to move it. I am a little hard ass. I've got a crazy switch and temper. If they don't want to work, they must all fuck off.
Certainly a huge learning curve for all of us. We started off believing that we'd come up here and siphon some diamonds out of some sand, and there's a lot more to it than that.
With the road finally completed, holes are being prepped beside the river for diving. The hotspot is ready to be mined, but they still need to replace the mesh on the classifiers.
We want to get these grids changed and then drag the machinery down into the valley. Changing to the new mesh, it will completely change the nature and volume of sand coming through. You haven't seen the rivet gun? No. The rivet gun we had is suddenly missing.
There has to be one, yeah. I've got one.
I think we just need to go through everything down there.
Otherwise, a pop rivet gun is 5 hours away.
Yeah. What about in this box? Did anybody check this one?
What about bolts and nuts? Drill a hole, put a big washer, bolts and nuts.
Not going to be the same.
No, there's little...
It's too little.
It's just so frustrating where you look at a situation, you've assessed it, and you think, no, well, you can do it like this or like that. And the people aren't seeing it.
Listen, you know what? If it means a drive, we'll just have to do it.
Oh, no, man. It goes on deaf ears.
Now we wait. In the meantime, all these machines are standing. This is a waste of time. I was hoping that they'd be in the water at the site pumping.
It's midday before Warren finally arrives back with a new rivet gun.
So I'm going to stick one in and then we'll work our way back from there. Doesn't work.
Pete decides to go with Warren's original plan of using nuts and bolts.
I'd love to sit him down and like fucking shake his head a bit and go, fuck, Pete. You know, like, come on, bro, just have some faith in me.
It's taken a whole day, but they managed to finish one of the classifiers. The next morning, Team B, headed by Conrad, is ready to drive to the new site.
Take Simon into our team.
He's a team member.
Then Gary will have a total fit.
You have that opportunity. You can jump ship. That one is sinking. Join us.
Nah, I'm cool.
Unfortunately, Team A, led by Kim, must stay behind and fix the second classifier with Peter.
Let's get going. We're gonna go find a diamond today. We put quite a bit of effort into the roads. When you're towing these trailers, they've got no shocks, no springs, so you're just getting jerked up and down and over and about, and the trailer's just pulling you everywhere. Old Gary, he's having a really bad morning. He's a bit bleak.
Just a bit of a long morning so far. Just waiting for my machine to get finished so I can hitch that up and take it down to the river. Need to get in that water and start doing some proper work now.
You know, I took his hoses, and he had a fucking absolute fit about that.
People are starting to get on my nerves, constantly standing on my feet, giving me a hard time. It's getting a bit tedious.
We've got 2 river crossings to make. This first one is the straight over, but the bottom's very, very loose. The guys try to make a road across there, but I frankly feel they really balls it up completely. We all put rocks on it, but you know, now they're all loose rocks. So everything's loose and the car bounces and dives over there. Then crossing number 2 is a huge rock in the river. And then get out of a, she's more than 45-degree bank. But that's what we have for, fun and games.
Conrad and Warren have arrived at the site. They are eager to choose the best spot. Villagers say a local woman found a 100-carat diamond right here.
In the right spot, they must find their own spot.
Diving here, it's totally different. It's something I've never done before.
Definitely not your regular dive job. Very little beauty in it.
It's nothing you can expect. I mean, the water's cold, it's eerie, it's scary.
You can't see anything there. It's pitch black.
Back at the lodge, Team A are following Warren's plan to replace the mesh.
It was a big mission. Both rigs are ready. They're going to tow the second rig down now, and hopefully we're going to have a nice roll.
Conrad and his team are at the hotspot, but are already encountering problems with the classifier.
It sucks, it starts, it gets everything going, and then runs out of power.
What am I witnessing?
The rig is too high for the pump. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to hook it up, cut through the river over there. When I park there, I think we'll lose 3/4 of a meter. There we go.
Pumps are too weak. They can't suck the water up into the machine. So we lose an hour and a half every single morning.
We're 3,000 meters above sea level. And for every 300 meters above sea level, you lose 10% of that pump's power. So that we've got pumps that perform at 34% of capacity. And it's completely inadequate for this environment.
Don heads into the neighboring village with one of their workers, Edison, and John, their community liaison. They're hoping to find a local woman who can prepare lunch on site for the team.
Getting a lady to cook for us in this community, I think they will really see it as a positive thing because it will bring some good to them.
Edison and his family live in this village. It's as much a message of goodwill as a service to be supplied. The gesture is not lost on Edison, whose community is truly benefiting from having the miners here.
They are happy because you have hired us. There are some people who are getting the money from that.
You know, this valley has absolutely no employment, and we're creating employment.
Let me call my chief.
Okay. Nice to meet you. The majority of the Basutas I've met, they're gentle people, they're helpful people, they're kind.
He's telling you that he's sick.
The secret, if he wants to get better, he mustn't chase young women. The opportunity to create more employment here is enormous. As a tourism spot, it's second to none.
Don't call me Edson.
Don't call you Edson, okay.
Yeah, call me Lemata.
Lamata,
Yeah,
okay.
After changing the mesh, the rest of the team are finally on their way down to site. However, the difficulties and remoteness are getting to Gary.
Drive, bro, drive. Don't stop, drive. Kim, you can't do that. You fucking drive like that, I'm gonna ride up your fucking ass. Guys gotta realize I've got a heavy fucking load behind me, and you can't just stop in the middle of fucking nowhere, especially when I'm coming up a fucking hill. The puss now he's gonna stop again just as you fucking me off. You killed all my fucking momentum. You happy now? Fucking wanker.
Concerned about Gary's driving, Pete pulls the convoy over to have a word with him.
Don't fucking drive fast with us.
No, I wasn't going fast at all. I'm like,
That's $250,000. Let me drive and
I'm
then
just
we'll see.
hobbling along.
The machinery is expensive and critical to realizing his dream, but he allows Gary to continue.
Take it easy.
Weet you drive so gut? Look, I haven't towed a fucking vehicle.
Conrad has moved the classifier closer to water level. The pump is now able to work.
Yes, let me do that. The machines are much better. All right, I'm going to set the other rig up over there. No pressure. Nothing.
Kim is in remission from cancer and recovering from chemotherapy.
It showed up as 1.6 centimeter nodules in the lungs. 3 in the one lung, 2 in the other. It had them cut out. Then chemo.
He's been quite badly affected by the altitude.
Shortness of breath, nausea, lack of appetite, coughing, dry cough. It can be life-threatening.
It doesn't mean he doesn't pull his weight. He's just weak. He's got great value add. He's very hands-on and he's very knowledgeable and he runs a good team. I've recently brought back an oxygen tank and mask for him, medical oxygen, so that might be the solution.
They set up Team A and the jig up on the bank out of the flood zone. Team B will stay where they are.
I'm going to see if I can master this beast. Where do you, at my age, get to learn to drive a JCB? Where do you get to learn to use a back actor or a backhoe on a JCB, or lift between 1 and 3 tons of rocks and drive into rivers and redirect streams? The world is too crowded today to learn things like that at my age.
The jig is blocked. They have been passing the overburden from the dive hole directly through the jig.
We've got a new problem. The last place there was too much of this. Now there's a hell of a lot of this. We'll pump for 10, maybe 20 minutes if we're lucky. There'll be a blockage.
There comes the water. Hold it tight. Yeah, we're forcing water back into the outlet to try and push any shit up through the top. There, it's working.
The team rush to fill as many bags as they can while the machines are running.
Waza, we're going to come with those sandbags. We're going to dump it in here. We need you to suck it up. I'm telling you, that's what we're doing. That's what Pete told me to do. Sort of Warren, you know, there's definitely been the arrogance, you know, thinking he's the best at everything sometimes can really cheese you off. Sometimes you actually got to listen to what the other person has to say. That did create tension because I just get irritated because anything you say, he'll put down and say it won't work when you know it will work.
Quite a fucking tedious job. And just being in here, you can't see anything. I'm going without my hoodie. Yeah, it's quite a bitch, eh?
And that's not the only problem.
You can see the machine is no longer operating.
I'm knackered. I'm shattered. You know, when it's running, it's lekker. And then for no reason, it will not run.
We're being disrupted once again. We're pulling out too much water out this hole. It's not filling quick enough.
It gets refilled automatically from the stream. We're obviously sucking it out faster than the stream is filling it.
The machines are driving us nuts.
They really don't seem to be very well designed pumps.
Team B's classifier is being moved again in the hope that it will improve its performance.
There's a huge amount of effort. It is a lot of manual labor. Even more. I really think we're going to find diamonds, and I think we're in the right spot at the moment. So we just got to keep pushing.
Guys, check where the water is. Start the engine.
How much pressure do you want? It's a bad day. Very frustrating.
It's like we're back at square one again.
I'd like to wash the day away, I said, I want it on me tomorrow.
The sooner the new pumps get you, the better. Battling with these little things is heartache.
Most people would give up and go. We are not people who give up and go.
Not very hopeful for today. Everyone basically struggled to get out of bed today. Mind was saying get out, body said screw you.
It was actually a battle to get out of bed and know that you're going to have to go and face another day of trying to make shit work that doesn't want to work.
We're going to set up the existing pumps again below the water so that somehow we can get it to pump the holes we're working in.
The pumps have been the problem from day one. We are, in fact, 2 weeks into our exploration.
We've got another 7 weeks from Monday. As long as we can get to pump 50 tonne a day, we're not going to have an issue. It's just right now we're not pumping 5 tonnes a day. It's 100% the pumps are to blame.
It's completely inadequate for this environment and completely unacceptable. If we didn't change the pumps, we'd have to abort this operation.
The day has only started. Already they're encountering new problems with the machines.
Fuck! This was a Monday machine, this, I'm telling you. The Oaks had a hell of a piss up the weekend before, and then they built this thing on a Monday. I don't know what this is sucking fucking downhill, it should suck. And we're not getting continuation, it just stops. Very frustrating at times, things not working and breaking. Oh, what? Oh, at times you want to throw your toys out the quad. See, with the end of the hose unattended like that, once we start sucking, it could be just sucking into the mud. There's supposed to be someone holding it.
Kim's having a bit of a hard time there, but yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
I think we've sucked mud up into the air priming unit here, so we're not getting much vacuum out our air priming unit here. There's that divers wandering around under the tree there instead of being in the water.
Coming up here, I had to leave my training behind. I've been training since I was a kid.
Gary is also an MMA fighter.
One of the reasons why I'm up here is to make money so I can get dojos up and going again, and I want to get back into the competitive arena again.
Gary is more of a dreamer. Warren is, let's get to it, let's do it now, bugger the consequences. Gary thinks about it more, and by the time he's thought about it, Warren has got it done.
I've got the guys, you'll see, rinsing away the bank. Then we can pull out these stones, and then just the gravel runs into the pond. And then once the gravel runs in the pond, then we can suck it out. This whole experience has been great. This is our time to shine. I'm 34 years old, it's time to grow up and time to just be positive.
Don has enlisted Warren's help to put up some shelter.
Being in the wilderness doesn't mean to say you have to give up all your home comforts. It's important to keep some standards.
It's a bloody ball ache. We build roads, we mine diamonds, we fix cars, we make dams, and now we make fucking homes for tea.
Don's building a portaloo. Does he want privacy?
Some of the chaps on the team are very quick to point out that it's a waste of time setting up this lager and having tea. But the empire was built on tea, and I find tea very important. All problems can be overcome if a pot of tea is properly made.
You've worked hard for this cup of tea.
We're waiting. So we're going to run this pump now, come. Let's do it.
Kim has fixed the air priming unit by using the compressor to force air through it.
Start the motor, for fuck's sakes. Get all the bubbles out.
That might be what's wrong.
What, Gary? Suck! Tell him to suck!
What you want to do, dude, is come shallow, because the water runs out and you can go down. Come closer to me here, come here.
I can't get closer.
What I mean is...
My fucking hose doesn't allow me closer.
Christ, you've got plenty hose, man. What are you talking about?
I don't.
Yeah, I can
feel
see.
when I can pull my fucking hose.
What? So I can shovel it in.
There.
So I'll shovel it in. Knob.
Warren arranged for Gary to get this job, and when Gary gets slack, Warren feels responsible for it. Gary feels Warren's taking advantage of him at times when he claims the best equipment or walks off with the best regulator or the one that we've just adjusted for Gary.
Just does things that really cheese me sometimes. He'll wear the same clothes for 3 days and sleep in them because he doesn't wash the fucking bath. Leaves this fat brown rim around him. He tells me he washes it, but you can see when a bath's washed.
His personality is what he is. He's an aggressive, cocky, arrogant. He's that kind of guy.
You know, Gary and Warren are tough, rough, hooligan guys. I know that. They are who they are. It is what it is.
Warren comes up with a plan to use the jigs pump to suck water from the river into a hose.
It's running smooth. It's nice how the teams are working together.
Glad to be back in the water. Got some results at least. Now it's just to put it through that little jig machine and hopefully Granddaddy's giving me my diamond.
Well done. We've given him the new job of driving the TLB. He's loving it to bits.
This has been a big help for him because he was going through a lot of trauma after his wife died. And I think this has actually loosened him up because he was very uptight for a while and he's much better. He says it was a great thing to happen because it sorted out his own spiral that he called it. But he's a happy chap now.
Not only is Don overcoming personal obstacles, but he's able to cover for other team members.
Tim's going to come back to Durban with me and we'll be back here first thing Monday morning.
I spent a few days R&R. I think it's Kim's first trip home to see the family and the kids. We try and do 10 days on and 4 days off to keep the guys in contact with their families, but also to rejuvenate them. You know, 10 days up here is tough.
Have a safe trip.
As Peter and Kim leave for Durban, the notorious Rob Thunder arrives at the site for the first time.
Just for the record, I brought up 4 cases of beer, 26 bottles of wine, a litre of gin, 3 bottles of vodka, 10 litres of Sprite Zero to go with the vodka, 1 or 2 bottles of fresh water, a bottle of Johnny Black and 2 bottles of sherry. So there's no reason why we shouldn't get completely
Shit-faced tonight.
You know, there's an old saying that a fish rots from the head down. And if us top guys don't have discipline, we can't impart discipline to others. Just because there's no ladies here doesn't mean to say we have to act like a bunch of barbarians.
You don't need that sort of problem on a mining site. Get drunk on the weekends, you guys be my guest. Just make sure you're fine by the time we start on a Monday morning and make sure every single day that I don't have to deal with your problem or make it a problem.
Rob may have a naughty streak, but he immediately starts to familiarize himself with the setup and his investment.
How much more will we be able to pump when those other pumps come tomorrow?
Big time.
So you've been here now, Warren, how many? 2 days. Tell me, Warren, when are we going to find some diamonds, bud?
Rob has quickly assessed the situation. There is only one classifier working. The jigs pump is being used to wash away the walls of the bank, and the classifiers still need to be lifted above the flood zone.
I've never spent any time on an illegal mining site. This is the first. In fact, if we find nothing, it'll be the best money I've ever spent. Just for the adventure. But who gets to do this type of shit? Next to arguably the most profitable diamond mine in the world. And we just in the shadow of it. Hopefully not for long though.
Every morning the kids come along. When he drives in here, they flock from the mountains. These little lighties, they just come from all over.
After the passing of my wife recently, the children have really made it for me. There's always a wave and a smile, and they're so grateful. The real treasure in this valley is actually not the spewings out of some ancient volcano, but the people who are here, the warmth of the people. But of course, having said that, it's really important that we create jobs here, and finding the diamonds would help create those jobs, permanent jobs. Without the pumps, we're just pussyfooting around.
If we're in gear, if we give gas, you'll also go backwards.
Conrad is allowing Don to use the front loader of the TLB by himself.
I think the risks of letting an untrained person use the back actor, they're serious, they really are serious. This isn't a game. If these guys weren't so close, I'd sit him down and show him a little bit. But you can't take those risks. Irishmen gone haywire, it decimates half our team. It's terrifying driving it. You can kill someone in an instant with it. We're hundreds of k's from any major hospitals. If anything major had to happen, we'd have to be airlifted out of here. Except you shouldn't drop those rocks from that height. That's quite dangerous because it can throw the balance of the TLB out. The way it's driving now, that's not safe. we would fail our health and safety in any country, including Lesotho. I'll have a word with him without damaging his confidence and his enthusiasm, just to be a little more careful.
The ongoing problems with the machines are affecting the operation. Warren and Gary have been instructed to leave today to collect the pumps. But things hardly ever go to plan, especially in Africa, where unpredictability is a part of life.
It's Monday, we're now starting week 3. Not an awful lot we can do today, unfortunately. The team that went away to pick up the pumps hit a snag when they got there.
The team have trailers with a capacity for 1.5 tons, but the new pumps weigh double that. They now have to transport 3 tons of machinery over treacherous mountain passes and dirt roads back into the valley.
Hopefully they'll be here by midday. Peter and Kem also get back from their weekend away. It's obviously very, very important that we get on with the job we came here to do. I'm acutely aware that I'm merely keeping it ticking over. The real experts are on their way.
As soon as Don arrives at the mining site, he is beset with problems.
Yeah. Asking me about pumps, quite frankly, I haven't got a clue. Of all the members of the team, I myself was the least experienced. I came a little bit fearful that I would be a burden on everybody. This is a long, long, long way out of my comfort level. Take the bucket, fill the hose with water, just the same as we did at the river. And once it starts sucking, then he's got to drop it.
Don is a superb delegator. He just can get it all done without picking up his finger.
Rob Thunder is suited up and in the water. They can't bring in nothing all day.
He's very much an action man. And I think today he's using the absence of the 2 divers as an excuse to get in there himself and experience what it's like to hang on to a hose like that. I secretly believe that he's hoping to find the first big rock with a diamond in it. But I'll be watching him very closely that I fulfill mine in taking it off him.
Got to make hay while the sun shines, eh? The clock is ticking, and we've got a lot of ground to move. That's sucking properly now.
With Rob manning the hose, Don's back in his favorite toy. He's concerned about Conrad and the divers, who should have been back by now.
The arrival of the pumps, it's like salvation to the heathen. We're all, including the workforce, eagerly awaiting to get these things up and running. Everybody is anxious to get going now. And hopefully tomorrow we will be able to get into full production.
The pass is dangerous. It is crucial they get over before dark.
Coming down the valley, it's terrifying. And there are no barriers on the side.
We've got huge drop-offs. It's extremely dangerous.
So a big risk is getting in and out of the valley. It really, really is.
You can kill yourself. I mean, actually, it's bloody scary.
It is almost dark before they finally make it down the mountain pass, where they have met up with Peter and Kim.
They're down there. You know, that's fine.
No, good.
Really good. I was in four-wheel drive, low range, and I felt this.
On that section, I was sliding, and I just felt it. There's nothing I could do.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
The next morning, they start the slow drive down to the site.
These pumps are gigantic and very, very heavy. I think it's going to be a mission just getting them there. And then once we're there, it's going to be a mission getting them set up. Too wide, you're going to hook, you're going to hook, you're going to hook, you're going to hook. Yes. Lucky. He's very lucky. Hopefully today we can get the new pumps running, get everything connected up, and maybe today's going to be a good day. I'm feeling positive. I'm not so sure everybody feels the same way. Let's see how we go.
getting very irritated with Warren today. He knows exactly what buttons with me to push. He's pushing them.
We're in each other's faces every day. So those little things, if I wake up in the morning and there's no lighter next to my bed and he takes it, it's fucking frustrating.
It takes the whole day to reposition the classifiers and place the new pumps alongside them. In true African style, they use a tailgate to assist the pump's power.
These pipes will pull the ends off of there.
They have to be inventive and use their ingenuity to make it all come together. But finally, they are ready to test the new pumps.
Come on, boys, let's rock and roll.
Go, start it.
Listen to that thing roar, bro.
Take it into gear.
But they can't get the pumps primed.
Compressor's now not strong enough. Need a 300 bar compressor, and I guarantee this thing will prime in 30 seconds to 1 minute.
Warren has an idea.
So you're saying pull the hose first?
Then the whole system's full. Then we put the plastic and we show her start and we see what she does. I can do this. I've got an engineering background. I'm fully confident.
He has a very broad general knowledge of equipment, and he has very functional solutions. It's actually a team player.
But we need to get this level. Why? So that while we're filling up there, it doesn't run out the pump.
It shouldn't. It should have a seal
Don't
on
worry.
the top.
Gary isn't not a team player. He's a grumpy guy. He's miserable.
Waste my fucking time.
The guys are a little shorter, the tempers flare a little bit.
Gary is uncooperative, so Warren takes the hose to his own diving hole.
What the compressor does is it creates a suction inside there which sucks the water up here until it fills that huge big pump. Once that pump's full, you can switch it on and then it shunts it through. And once the pump's running, it does its own suction. None of us are experts on machinery, so we had to rely on the machine manufacturers, and I told them where we're going. Next to Letsang Mine, 10,000 feet in the Lesotho Mountains, we're getting in freezing cold water. I want machinery that will allow us to suck salt, put it through classifiers, into a jig, and find diamonds. I chose Jan because he was a gentleman, and I liked him. But I don't think in his wildest dreams he even guessed about or even took into consideration elevation and the effect it has on pumps.
Finally, a result. But the force of the water has blasted the pump handle right off.
But this is not good news.
No, it isn't. This is very weak even for that unit.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bloody
flimsy.
bilge pump, man, really. They use this in canoes.
Final verdict is bullshit. We have to go and now buy a compressor strong enough to lift the water up to the pump. There we go. We were hoping everything would run smoothly today. One more problem. You know, what can you do?
A new day, and Peter and Kim have to return to South Africa yet again to purchase a larger compressor. Jan has arrived to commission the pumps.
It was my intention to tell him that his equipment has cost us 2 or 3 weeks downtime.
Yeah, stuck there again, same spot.
And I wanted to make him accountable. I wanted him to acknowledge that really it was their fault.
I think there's a design flaw.
Jan spec the pipes for this application, for this area, for this place. My skills are entirely different.
Jan wants to move the 1.5-ton pumps to the water's edge.
You come here and then you stuff around and you waste another whole day. Now we're gonna waste another whole fucking morning. See Conrad, he's about to go. He's on the edge of it.
He was going the same route with the new pumps that we went with the old ones. Take them off the trailer, get them lower down, move them closer to the water, destroying our whole object of maneuverability and enough distance from the water to be safe.
After all that, it still will not prime.
Oh, Jan, it's a real problem.
He could see the problem, didn't know how to fix it.
When the equipment comes, does it come with a proviso to say, well, look, it's suitable for up to 1.8 meter head height. So I was giving Jan a bit of a hard time trying to make sure that he understood that we felt it was really his product, his machines and his company who have cost us quite a bit of lost or downtime.
The guys have invested a lot of money here. We've got a window period of opportunity. If you're moving 5,000 tons of gravel an hour, you're doing 6 hours a day, that's 30,000 tons of lost opportunity. You multiply that by the amount of time we've been here, and it's a considerable pile of gravel that we haven't been able to look at.
With the rainy season drawing nearer, it is imperative they get the machines working.
We have to make this work today.
I think Jan just got so freaked out, he didn't know which way to go.
Conrad can get his point across pretty well.
Tempers were fraying.
When you were here last time, when you just...
I didn't, you didn't place the order, so...
When you were here, when you were last time...
No, Jan, you can't.
No, but he's carrying on the same story.
Okay, but we've got to try and find a solution.
I know that. And I told you, I told John, everyone.
Jan made a fundamental schoolboy error. He did not factor in the altitude, and the more Conrad tried to box him into a corner, the more heated it became.
Jan was frustrated by his own problem.
And he had a kitten, you know, all 6'6" of him jumped up and...
Oh, then I'm going to go home. Rob, come have a look.
Rob Thunder had to intervene.
Situations like this, when you've got two guys that are getting a bit hot into the collar, the best thing is to sit in the middle and try and mediate.
I just want to clarify the situation for myself, okay? You were commissioned to provide us some equipment so that we can do alluvial diamond mining. So it's not fighting with you.
Just stop right there.
Conrad's a tough oak, eh? He'll stand his ground no matter how big the oak is.
You know, 6'6" on top of me will not be pretty. It's not fighting with you.
From my office, or
Yeah, I
he phoned me and
understand.
said, I'm looking for alluvial mining equipment. I want to work in Lesotho in the river.
Sure.
Lesotho in the river can mean anything for me. I've never been to Lesotho, I don't know. When Peter asked me to make these pumps, he told me to put them on stands, they would stand on the ground. Now they're standing on a stand, on a trailer, vacuum can't lift it, the water becomes too heavy. The higher you lift the water, the heavier it becomes. It's just nature.
So he said, but you guys ordered these things. And he kind of like laid the blame off on us, which is bullshit. That's not the case.
For me, this is so serious that it's almost,
Well,
you know, you want to pull the plug on it.
Jan didn't really have a leg to stand on.
Just cut to the chase. You know what I think here, Jan, and I'm hearing both stories, and I'm coming in as the outsider, a bit of the outsider, coming in the tail end. So I'm understanding your point of view and I'm understanding Conrad's point of view. I think you're getting frustrated. Trust us. Trust me, we're getting frustrated as well. We've paid a lot of money here.
I know that.
I've only been here since Friday.
And you're already...
Fuck it, I don't know how he's fucking still keeping his cool, because I'm beginning to fucking lose it. But the bottom line is we all know that Lesotho is a mountainous area. But I think Jan was realising that he was up a creek without a paddle. Let's try and find a solution. If we put this down to here, you say it's going to work?
Well, as I said, the water was lifting up to
Okay.
here.
Jan is not committing.
We are FUCKED.
Yeah. But we couldn't prime it because of atmospheric pressure of the weight of the water.
Jan wasn't giving us any clear-cut answers. He wasn't going to take it on the chin.
I really don't care if he's pissed off with me because everything I said was true.
He could see they're not working. And I think that just blew him away.
It becomes more and more critical that we're able to work effectively. And to date, we have not been able to work effectively.
And Jan just got in his car and buggered off. He just couldn't take it. I think he just gave up.
It's becoming clear what needs to be done. We pack up and go home. He gives us our money back. We write off the time value of money and all our operating costs so far. Go back to our investors, give them the money, and then find someone who wants to buy this concession and sell it to them. And we might come out net square.
Hey, Mr. Jager.
That night, they let loose. The stress of mining in the mountains is too much.
For fuck's sake.
Oh, son, like a tape.
What inspired us? A couple of bottles of red wine and a bottle of Johnny Black.
Jan yesterday, I think he just gave up and buggered off. I mean, he couldn't add any more value. He couldn't fix his problem. And I think he chickened out and ran away.
Up.
Shit. After many days of all the bullshit, hopefully that compressor can get this thing to prime. Priming means getting the water to fill these tubes. So we've got now two methods of priming it. One is we'll try the suction, If the suction doesn't work, we're going to put a pump on there and fill it with water.
I don't believe that the compressor is going to have enough power. Not very confident at all.
With Jan's disappearance, the team are left to find a solution on their own, and the new compressor has made no difference.
That thing won't do it, we'll use water. This whole contraption where we'll put a water pump on here and shoot water into the big pump.
This is Kim's clever design.
We'll connect the 2-inch pump to here. And that should give us enough water in the pump to prime it.
The machines are working for now. The divers get in the water.
When you're diving in those holes, you've put your full trust on the guys above. You just hope the guys are doing it correctly, you know, and it's not endangering your life. Down there, the water's cold, you're shivering.
It's very difficult, especially when the water gets murky and you've got to feel your way around. You're using sensors which you usually don't use. Most people rely on sight to know what's going on. And down there, we actually close our eyes.
Gary has noticed something seriously wrong with Warren's air supply. He immediately pulls Warren out.
This hose over here was attached to here, and there was a hose on here. And there should only be one hose onto this machine at any given time. That's oil. That goes onto a man's lungs, and it's like putting varnish on your lungs. Roger, come check here, bro. That's what's going into your lungs. What?
Someone had hooked up my rig to actually the blue compressor. And that's not for breathing. I mean, we've got proper compressors for breathing with filters on.
Dive compressors all have these filters that you regularly change the cartridges. It's an ongoing safety measure.
And it keeps out any impurities. I mean, his hand was just covered in oil.
Oil coats the alveoli in your lungs and you can breathe as much as you like and you're not going to get any oxygen transfer.
When that happens, you can literally look at the guy. You can't do anything for him. You can't put him on oxygen. Nothing. There's nothing you can do. It could have very much ended his life.
It was an extremely close call for Warren. The frustration grows as the new pumps are not performing either.
I think his design is something incorrect. Every time he sucks into the mud, it shits off.
I heard it, lady.
They don't do what they're supposed to do. In fact, that big pump struggled more than the little pump. Let's change the whole process and let's put the little pumps down at the water and go back to our original classifier, take these two big pumps to hell with them.
I'm okay.
Leave classifiers up, leave everything up, just those little two pumps go down and back. Come more towards me. Okay.
And now the weather has changed.
We'd been warned that the rainy season was about to start here in Lesotho.
Did anybody move that Jenny?
Yeah, I got it out.
Fantastic. This is Africa at its best and worst. It's hostile.
It thunder and hail and it rained for about half an hour and then it was gone.
You get 4 seasons in one day.
The rain clears. They can now test Pete's new setup.
Much quicker. It's in.
What the hell is wrong?
The success of the small pump is almost lost, as it took another full day to get it working.
Right up until half an hour ago, I was willing to stuffing break everything, you know, and sue the bastard who sold us this. We've missed 2 weeks of pumping. We've got 7 weeks left. We've got to really pump this entire bank. I want us to come here in a month's time and this whole bank is gone. And it can do it. These pumps can pump 50 tons a day. So if we've got both of them running, we'll pump 100 tons a day, which is 100 cubic meters of ground. I'm feeling a lot better. If you'd asked me this half an hour ago, I'd have fucking freaked. Okay, what we're going to do today, pump by the water, we're going to take this machine out. Those big pumps are a heap of junk. They're not going to work. They're too heavy to move around. So we're going to go back to the smaller pump, put the small pumps right next to the water, suck with them, and then just continuously move the small pumps around. Everything else is going to be built into situ so that we never have to move it again. Look at the volume of water coming out of the classifier. No, it's going well.
Today's probably going to be the first day of proper pumping at the site where we want to be, where we know there's stones, and hopefully we can get some beauties out today. It's the first time I've done river diving like this, as they say, puddle hopping.
The divers, they get into these deep holes that we dig with these huge suction machines and there's boulders toppling over them.
Warren jumps in the TLB to move some big rocks off the riverbank.
He's struggling with a back actor, but it's a bit complex. Yeah, I'm not a qualified TLB driver.
Taking the boom over their heads, between the guys, lowering it.
If something does fall, you don't know it's coming down.
Warren and his bloody bulldozing. He's coming at full pace. He's got big boulders in the bucket and he's pushing them over into the water, right where my legs are. Yeah, I had a fucking boulder fall on the back of my calf.
Show him he's having a little fatty wobble.
And he's lucky I was in the water and I'm suited up, otherwise I would have given him a fat push clapper.
So I'm not scared of him, couldn't give a fuck, honestly.
The operation is becoming productive, and the team have filled the most bags in one day so far.
We have a certain budget, we have a certain time limit, and we've got to work within that. At the end of that time, the money runs out, the time runs out, and we've got to try and find something during that period. Our haystack is enormous, and somewhere in there is these couple of needles that are going to be very valuable.
It's the weekend, and the divers have gone to a nearby ski resort to let off some steam. Things go downhill quickly.
We're quite crazy oaks together. And we do crazy things together.
Tequila and me are not a good combination. We don't mix very well.
He came in all aggressively, screaming, shouting. Was just sitting there minding my own business.
Fuck you, eh?
I was pretty irritated about him dropping a rock on the back of my fucking legs. He just had no remorse about it or anything, and I just lost my rag.
Fuck you, bitch! Come here! You want one?
And went outside, we had another fight out there. I've also got my little crazy switch. While he was down, I carried on hitting him and hitting him and hitting him, and fucked me from everywhere. He was bleeding.
I can't fight when I'm drunk. Nobody can fight when they're drunk.
The next morning, Conrad runs into Warren, who is nursing a few injuries.
You know, it is so.
We're sitting in here relaxed.
He shows Conrad some footage on an iPhone.
And I can't hit him. I'm not finished, bitch.
What the fuck happened? Jesus, but I've just had a chat with Warren. What happened, big guy?
I have no idea. Honestly, don't have an idea.
When I hear friends got into such a big fight and they say, oh, I drank too much and I don't remember a thing, I think more it's a character flaw. No, buddy, that's serious. Yeah. Okay, that is really serious.
I don't understand what the fuck happened last night.
My chat with him could have gone one of two ways. I could have lost it and let him have it and said, cheers, but you're fired.
I can't afford to lose my job over this shit like this.
He got beat up pretty badly. I think his ego took a massive knock. All I wanted to do in my chat with him was to bring him back from there. You look like shit. You look like shit, I swear.
I feel like shit.
It's almost a compulsive personality, and that generates those extremes. He has to have a lot of it. He must do all of it. He's got to do it in the biggest possible way. Right, I'll see you now.
Thanks, Conrad.
Look, Rick.
Yeah, I feel like I disappointed a lot of people last night.
Conrad goes to break the news to Don.
I think there's only one solution, my friend.
Okay, well, don't verbalize it, let's think about it.
Indy, pull out what's in the sink.
It's a rotten apple. I'm not sure that that's the only solution.
This hooliganism last night possibly could end up affecting my work now. And that's not the way I like to roll it.
Been in the army, I know this stuff. Starts off fun and ends off tough.
Guys here that need to be a little bit more accountable.
There was still some petrol under the saddle. We got a problem. Every time it rains, we stuff.
It's gonna drown any minute.
Jesus Christ, I don't believe it. Look at the bloody machine and tell us if it's a diamond or not.
I'm shaking. 1 million people in the world who'd like to try this.
The lines between having a good time and work are becoming increasingly blurred.
Jesus, strong will survive.